Red Devils were the only team of the 3 regions that we show on this channel. Now 4, because ANZ is now also shown on this channel, but at the time it was only 3. They were the only team to retain their spot. Of course, Rise Nation fell out of North America, and then we saw the same thing in Europe with both Vitality and M&M, now Na'Vi making their way up. So, we'll be playing on Clubhouse today, so we have yet another new map. We had Consulate, then we had Cafe, now we have Clubhouse. So we don't have any similarities, I suppose. Now, you're going to be voting on this before you saw the slaughter that was INTZ versus IMT, so you might not be as enthused for an upset, but
that's even more one-sided.
You're pretty certain that FaZe is going to win this one. 87% of you say that FaZe is going to win. 5% draw, 8% for Red Devils.
That's something. That's most one-sided of the day. Because, I mean, the last one was also one-sided. It was 79-12 in favor of Immortals.
Bring up the liquid stats.
Bring up the liquid stats. There you go.
Oh, it was only 66%. So 27% of you were favoring Team 1. And I think that was a big part of because of how good they looked against Ints last Playday.
Yeah, 7-0 draws attention from every corner. That's for sure. So, yeah, I mean, almost one-sided, but we've had a lot of kind of one-sided community votes so far today, and it's not terribly surprising that FaZe would get an 87% over Red Devils fall teams.
No, I'm not very surprised at that at all. And FaZe is an extremely popular team. Might not be as popular as Liquid, but they've definitely been the most successful Latin America team outside of Liquid since Atlantic City. Because if you really look at where Liquid has been, in Paris, they didn't make it out of group stages. They didn't qualify for Rio at the 6 Invitational. They were the only Latin America team to make it, but they got defeated by Empire in the quarters, if I remember correctly. And then...
where was it? What are you asking about?
6 Invitational.
6 Invitational? I'll look it up. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I want to say you're right. I want to say you're right.
I think they lost in the quarters. Yeah, they did, because the semifinals were Reciprocity versus G2 and then Nora Rengo versus Empire. So Liquid only made it to the quarters, and then of course Liquid wasn't in Milan either. Since then, FaZe have done okay, but FaZe also flamed out of the groups at the 6 Invitational, so there's still that title of best team in all of Latin America that I think is up for grabs, even though FaZe finished in the finals, falling to G2 in Rio, and then made it into the semifinals in Milan.
They did get knocked out in the quarters, but it was by Team Empire, who went on to go into the finals against G2. So, I mean, like, that's... Yeah, and they gave them a 2-1. So,
it was a close one, and it was a very different look for Liquid, but we're not talking about Liquid because we're talking about Red Devils and FaZe, the 2 red logos. The only 2.
They look good together.
The only 2 red logos. They do look good together. Just like when you and I cast, Michael.
Aw.
We look good together.
I mean, you look good without me sitting beside you as well, so.
I feel like the ponytail provides us with strength. And
maybe
fills us with determination.
Maybe that's possible. There's been a lot of that discussion around the ponytail in the past. So who knows?
Now we'll look towards the operator bands as we'll load in here to Clubhouse and for FaZe. Their most common band operators for a long period of time were always Hibana and Echo, and given that it's Clubhouse, I wouldn't be too surprised to see that continue. And Hibana will be the very first band for FaZe Clan. Of course, with a map like this, you're usually going to have to use one of the attacker bands on a hard breacher. You can't leave all 3 on the table with Clubhouse. So you remove a Hibana from action, and interestingly enough, Red Devils will take Thatcher out as well. This will make it a lot trickier, and it almost guarantees that you'd have to run a Maverick, though, in order to try to combat the likely Electric Claws that will come out with Thatcher being a ban.
This is going to be a really interesting Clubhouse with Hibana and a Thatcher band. You're going to see Maverick and Thermite every round. There will be I doubt we will see anything but I doubt we will see rounds where one of those isn't brought. Echo being banned out, Mira or a Maestro probably, but hey, maybe they'll do us an upset and ban somebody else. That'd be interesting. Nope, there's Mira. Neat. I believe it has been Mira and Echo for every match, and yes, yeah.
Yep.
So far today it's been Mira and Echo.
You're correct, Mundo.
So that's real interesting.
FaZe starting on defense, they obviously don't need Mira, and they usually ban Echo an awful lot. So, I mean,
That's
Echo
true.
being banned by Red Devils, you're expecting that FaZe Clan are going to be able to play around that. Because of the fact that Red Devils banned Thatcher, I am interested to see what FaZe does when they go to attack, because Red Devils banning Thatcher, they know that they're not going to need him. You're not going to ban an operator that is pivotal to your, towards your success. So, what happens? Well, you correctly predicted that you will need both a Thermite and a Maverick. And the newest member of Red Devils, Cypress, is going to be running that Maverick.
There's also a Montaigne being brought. That's quite interesting because usually Montaigne gets banned on well, not usually. I guess I should say he often is banned on Clubhouse, so we don't get to see him a whole heck of a lot here. But when he's left unbanned, a very powerful operator on this map, and not just site-specific either. You can use him pretty much anywhere to gain yourself a lot of advantage. There's so many bottlenecks on Clubhouse. That's why the hard destructors are so relevant. And it's why having a Thatcher and a Hibana banned out is going to really upset the attackers. However, if Red Devils are bringing that Montaigne, that will give them a little bit of a leg up. And it is important to remember that Red Devils, knowing that they started on attack first, knowing that Hibana had been banned because it was banned by FaZe at the very beginning of the ban phase, continued with their Thatcher ban and leaned into the Montaigne. So it's clear that Red Devils are a little bit reliant on the Montaigne. That's why they were okay to go through with that Thatcher ban on a map like Clubhouse, and it's going to give them a little bit of an edge as an attacking team. And you have to wonder if FaZe is going to be able to bring something similar or the same or anything along those lines. This is really interesting. So you might be wondering, why is Astro actually getting on the desk? Real quick, the reason he's getting on the desk is because you can see the feet and the torso of Astro if he just sits behind the desk. So Astro can get away with sitting here, and someone will drone out office and assume it's clear without checking the spot. Like, the odds of a drone actually going through with checking that spot are they're very low.
Keep in mind, he's also going to be sitting in client-sided debris. So whether he's exposed or not is going to be up to the client of each of the respective players. And it looks for the time being that there was a drone that sailed by. He might not have been exposed.
Yep.
He might be in a position where he's able to surprise anybody who drops from Red Devils. There's a bit of a standoff with the Montaigne just waiting. The wall or the mountain inside of Dirt Tunnel, and the mountain shall not be moved.
So this Astro position is going to be, I think, really influential later in the round.
You're waiting for the Montaigne to continue to push up with Abreu on his side, and the Smoke is in as good a position as Smoke is going to find. Very common, sitting at the elbow spot inside of Dirt. Oh! Astro gets one, downs the other. He takes out Cypress, but he doesn't know if there's anybody available, and he'll take out Zion. His FaZe so far put 3 on the board, and both Mighty and Abreu will have to do some extra work. Mighty will descend down upon the main stairs with Abreu inside of the kitchen, trying to take out the hatches, but he'll now join the Buck as well. Being zapped by the Evil Eye as Mighty will now move along. Both members of Red Devils heading down the main stairs in dire straits in a 5v2 favoring FaZe Clan with still a minute to go. So Red Devils have a possibility to bring this one back, and Abreu will grab Astro, likely on the flank watch, but he twists and Yuno will just shut him down. We're going to see if Mighty can do anything, but the C8 will just bobble over the head of its target. He peeks around the corner, and it's Cameraman playing inside of Blue, who will be the last member of FaZe to collect his kill. And it'll be the Defenders taking round number 1.
And off the backs of Astro, sitting in that spot in Office. Office was droned out. You can't really say it's on Red Devils for not being thorough enough. It really just comes down to the fact that, well, Astro was in a pretty, I don't know, just an impressive ninja spot that we haven't seen before, at least as far as I know on a Pro League broadcast. It hasn't been highlighted, that's for sure. Something I've seen. But yeah. Impressively done from Astro. You can't expect it to work 2 times in a row. I'm guessing that Red Devils will be a little bit more thorough with their droning in future. They can't have known where he came from, but they can guess for sure. It has to be either Gym, Master, or sorry, pardon me, Office. But yeah, I mean, even if it gets you only 1 round, it still gets you that round. So, FaZe Clan, well played. They're going to be setting themselves up on Cash now. Typical either primary or secondary site here on Clubhouse. With Montaigne, this is going to be a lot harder to hold, especially on the Garage side of things. Yuna is likely going to be the player to tasked with holding on to Garage, but again, against Montaigne, it can be difficult. There is no Legion being brought here by FaZe Clan, which is quite interesting given they know the Montaigne is in play. Usually the Legion Goo mines are one of the stronger counters to the Montaigne. He's not going to be brought.
Montaigne was not a very useful tool, but I think he'll be better here, especially if they can take control of Garage, right? If you can keep the Montaigne alive for long enough, There are a lot of defensive teams that might not have anything at their disposal to stop the Monty from moving. Now, keep in mind, there's no Legion and there's no smoke, so there's nothing that's really going to stop a Montane from continuously pushing up, outside of just simply pummeling the Monty should he drop his shield. In fact, if you look at FaZe Clan's lineup, they don't really have an awful lot to stop a shield from pushing the way that you are used to seeing him do so.
Yeah, they're definitely very susceptible to the Montane, that's for sure. They're going to be going for Maverick holes on the server wall, or opening it up, very likely later on. Right now, they are hunting for the Electro Claw. Because the Thatcher is banned, getting Electro Claws is very difficult, and Maverick, of course, cannot necessarily pinpoint the Electro Claws the same way you could pinpoint a Bandit Battery, so he's just kind of, I'm guessing, at this point and when he's opening up that wall. And it's definitely holding up Red Devils right now. They're setting up for a garage take, as you can see, starting to drone in and find out where their adversary lies. And as they have the garage panel open, it makes the job of Astro very much more difficult, as he has to hold on to lower garage to deny the push from the Montane. He's doing his darndest, though. This is a difficult angle to challenge as an attacker, but he's been spotted and pre-fired upon. A nearly even exchange there, but Mighty does come out underneath. Pre-fire from Astro there is going to finally finish off the buck, and there you go. FaZe Clan in great position right now. C4 comes out to damage, no kill the Montane because he looks the wrong way. That reduction on the damage from the explosive only happens when the C4 is on the other side of the shield.
Yeah, I think it fell right behind it as Yuna felled from Cypress. That's the dock downs. There'll be no more ability to heal your teammates up for the time being. FaZe Clan find themselves at full HP, so they won't necessarily need the dock, or at least just yet. Hard to bounce back, losing both your Monty and your Buck. Unable to dislodge Astro. Yet again, doing a great job off-site of just holding down the fort. And Astro will close in on where the actual site is, upstairs in CCTV and Cash, as he'll ascend the red stairs. He'll fire through Aber through the floor to try and do some damage, and he surprises the Thermite, who will move back. Zion taking a bit of damage himself. 30 seconds left, and FaZe look very firmly in control. They haven't discovered Mav either, playing over in what is referred to as Atom Spot, at the top of blue stairs. So he's looking to see if anybody's going to come in through the garage. But as we can tell from our outlines, there's nobody over there, and Mav will likely realize that and begin to push on up. Through the door before he can even hit it once. It's the third kill for Astro as he's looking for all of them. He has the diffuser down too. Commander doesn't have a ton of bullets in its magazine. He'll look for number 4. He'll find it. Oh, Astro's warming up. Where's the last one? Every kill for Astro and the ace on the board. He makes it look easy. Very quick work. Nobody from Red Devil is able to find the scoreboard on that one, and off the backs of that ace, FaZe Clan will find themselves with a 2-round lead.
And nobody on Red Devils finding the scoreboard, but also nobody else other than Astro. Very well done. Red Devils not showing a whole lot to us that round. They started things off with Maverick tricking apart a quarter of the server wall. Not a whole lot of control established because of that. They effectively bottlenecked themselves there, and I'm not sure why they chose to do that, but that's the play they went with. Following that, they tried to push into garage, but that fell flat on its face because they couldn't deal with Astro playing lower garage, despite having opened up the garage panel. That should have been a very easy take for Red Devils, but it didn't work out. Now, finally, after 2 failures, Red Devils will switch off of the Montane onto a Blackbeard using their 6-pick. Probably the right call. They'll be going to Gym. This is a site that Blackbeard can be very useful on, but you have to be careful on about how you use him, because, for example, if you put him on the south balcony, then he's very exposed to the server, and that's going to require some commitment from Red Devils and holding on to server, which they can do. We've seen a lot of teams, for example, bringing the Buck up on the east balcony, opening up that server wall, and then denying the server window from that position. It's a very easy play to make. It just requires the Buck staying away from the action for a prolonged period of time. However, that opens up the entire south balcony, which is a very powerful position to hold as an attacker, as you can gain angles on almost anywhere in the site.
It's way too soon to tell, Michael, but this definitely doesn't look like the Red Devils that was able to put 3 on the board against Ninjas in Pajamas on playday number 1. Astro with 7 kills in comparison to 2 kills for all of Red Devils, and I think that it really shows just how ineffective they've been. And nobody really was able to pin down where Astro was playing. He's going to be on a more secure role this time, though. Tackling the Kaid, and Ion will be the one with the Mozzie.
I mean, we've seen a lot of the more high-tier teams, like way. What? Was that a Valkyrie cam? Yes, indeed it was. Not spotted out, though, just yet. There you go, Zion got it. So like I was saying, we've seen a lot of the more, the tier 1, the best teams in the world switching up their roles on who plays what quite a lot. Just keeping things, a little bit fluid.
Wonder how much extra fragging potential this Blackbeard is going to provide. He might actually be able to see the Electric Claw if he just stands in that position, but the rifle butts of the stocks rather, the barrels, if you have, whatever part of the gun it may be. I don't know, I'm Canadian, I don't know anything about guns, Michael. But Velvet was able to get harassed by those alibis, and Cypress can hang upside down and accomplish that, can he not? I think they're...
He's spotted the Electric Claw, he's trying to get it.
They're struggling.
They're working at it.
Mighty hard. It's
not a very... It's a tight angle because of the extension.
There you go.
There you go.
Now, this is interesting because keep in mind, you can make that metal sheet fall away by just carving out half of it, right? And instead of doing that with soft destruction, which the buck could come in very handy, they'll utilize an exothermic charge. I'm a little confused as to why they're doing that. Maybe it's because they're tight on time, or maybe they just don't need an exothermic charge elsewhere. I
think it's because they're tight on time. I mean, any other place you're going to open it up is right on the other side of that wall, and that's going to be bathroom, but there's so little time to make that happen.
And the problem with bathroom is it is also Electric Claw. So you're going to have to repeat this process, which seemed to kill 30 seconds on the clock for you in the interim. 50 seconds left. It looks like there is a Nitro Cell that's going to go out, and it'll catch Velvet. It's a little bit too close, and that rifle shield's not going to protect you from the explosive damage that comes out from a C4. Now, Ion's here watching the rotate on in towards Jim. He's got two bodies that are just close enough. Could find themselves falling victim to the Roni. And he'll find one. I don't know what Abreu was doing. I don't think he knew that angle existed. Expecting to push it on through the window. There's Ion. He'll get pinged a couple times. Oh, he gets taken out from Zion down below. As all these holes that have been opened up will work against FaZe. Red Devils showing some signs of life with Mighty being able to get in on the fun. Now, Cypress will join the Capitao, moving up the front stairs. Mav will take out Mighty. Looking for another. Cameraman's there, but Mav gets felled, and Cypress holding that diffuser. He's got 4 seconds left. He's going to have to take the fight, but Yuna and Cameraman are still there, and it's a pre-fire around the corner that Cypress walks quite willingly into. FaZe will complete the very first site rotation through 3 rounds, and they'll do so flawlessly. They're up 3-0 now.
So that was the closest round we've seen so far on the third site there for FaZe, and... Okay, so the attack strategy was... It was confused, I think is the way I would put it. It was very basic execution there from Red Devils, but it was executed so incredibly slow. There was a lot of unnecessary movement from Red Devils, a lot of people playing positions that aren't necessarily going to influence the round in any meaningful fashion. For example, Zion playing on the Capitao out by construction and trying to cut off the rotation on the main stairs. I can recognize what he's doing there. I can, agree to an extent that it is a powerful position in some situations. However, that was not one of them. You need to open up the jacuzzi wall first, then put yourself there. That way you cut off the rotation when it means the most. You can also deny main stairs as a point of play for the defense, which is a great way for the defense to hold on to the jacuzzi wall after it's been opened. Then it's useful. But it just seemed like a lot of stuff was disjointed on the side of Red Devils. Not knowing about that angle from Master Bed, maybe he didn't know the angle existed, but if that's the case, then that's really unfortunate, and I'm surprised. I think it was just poor timing there from Red Devils and Abreu. I think that, as weird as it sounds, I think Montaigne would have been really useful in that attack. Montaigne yourself into Jim, lay down some smokes, go for a plant, But no, they didn't make that happen. Didn't have Montaigne.
Came decently close, but I like that. I like that they've switched off the Monty.
I like it too.
Hasn't worked at all.
They weren't using him very well. I'm not saying they were using him well. I'm saying he could have been useful there. I mean, somebody with smokes they did have the Capitao, but guess what? He didn't use his smokes. He didn't use his smokes.
He didn't use his smokes.
Weird. I don't know why.
I just don't think...
He fell through the drop, too.
I mean, I think a big part of why the Montaigne wasn't effective for Red Devils was because FaZe Clan matched it with aggressiveness. I said at the onset of that second round that the Monty wouldn't be that, slowed down by what FaZe had, and you're absolutely right. When You look at him not using his smokes. Sure, he didn't, but that's because he got C4'd right away.
Well, I was talking about the Capitao when attacking onto Jim. Okay, so Zion, Capitao attacking onto Jim last round. He came into Jim, then he got a kill, and then he didn't use his smokes on the entry or later, and he fell through the drop.
Did we see any smoke utilization from Red Devils through 3 rounds?
We haven't really, no.
No.
No, I don't think we've seen any. I don't remember any.
Nothing that jumps out to me.
Me neither. No
Nothing that was of significance.
Yeah, no useful smokes.
I mean, even if you do utilize it, it doesn't really matter because FaZe has been winning an awful lot of gunfights. But he's now going to open up as much of this kitchen floor as we transition into the halfway point of round number 4 with FaZe Clan up 3-0. Waiting to possibly see an impact trick go on somewhere.
So they're going to Maverick the bar drop and try to exothermic the Arsenal drop. Usually that's backwards, but it also depends on what kind of risks you want to take, because trying to Maverick the kitchen drop is very dangerous.
Yes.
This time they got away with exothermicing the Arsenal drop. They probably shouldn't have. That's on Astro. You see, he still has an impact in his pocket. He could have denied that drop down, but he didn't.
I think he's just worried about the buck play there, right? You've seen teams drop grenades down, and he'll use the impact here. Depends on where he's looking.
He will get it.
He'll get the Claymore. I don't know if this position is given away or not. The camera is above him, so he knows he doesn't have to worry about anybody, and Astro will now be doing what he does. He plays this lurker role. 2 bodies from Red Devils will make their way down the dirt path towards the site as Astro continues his rotate above. Unbeknownst to the members of Red Devils, they could be caught quite significantly. Mighty is down from an explosive. I don't know exactly what that was, and a C4 will find Velvet, but oh! Zion was watching and waiting. He'll catch Astro, so FaZe will lose 1 body. And Abru realizes that he's not going to be able to get Mighty. He'll have to move on out. There's Cypress to take down Cameraman, as Mighty will still just sit and wait. It's essentially a 3v3. Ion finishing the job that he'd started as Red Devils knocking at this door, but they're running very short on time. Ion pops out. He's going to have to worry about where this diffuser goes down for Abru. Oh, he'll shut 1 down. Run on up. That's it. Ion and Mav coming together in phase 4 in a row. I don't know what it is with the defense right now, but they are having an absolute banger of a day. FaZe find themselves undefeated with 2 in their pocket for Church and only 2 remaining rounds for them to continue to march towards match point as they've been doing so far.
Good read from Red Devils shutting down Astro on the flank, though. It was mostly down to the fact that Astro was running. His footsteps do carry through that floor and his opponent's ceiling, which resulted in pretty easy information gathering there from Red Devils, allowing for the kill. However, that is really beside the round overall, because while yes, Astro's flank was red and shut down, Red Devils didn't have a lot going for them when it came to the execution onto the site itself. They did manage to get the kitchen drop down opened up, and that's great. They did manage to open up part of the Arsenal wall and get themselves into site, which is great. But again, they didn't use their smokes, or they just weren't winning their fights on their entry. So you aren't running disruption on the defense, so you aren't denying them the visual that they need to, shut you down when you're on the entry. And also you aren't winning your fights on the entry. So none of what needs to happen is happening if you're Red Devils, and FaZe are just having an easygoing time of it, to be honest. That was a good hold from FaZe, though. Well done to them. Are we looking at 2 7-0s today, Parker? Because the way this is shaping up right now, we're definitely looking at I think we're seeing a 6-0 for FaZe, if not a 5-1 maybe. Because the way that this is going, I mean, we've got 1 perfect cycle already, and we're starting off the 2nd cycle here for FaZe.
I think the bigger worry if you're Red Devils is that over the last 2 rounds, Astro hasn't contributed at all on the scoreboard, right? He had 7 kills at the end of round 2, and then since then the rest of the team has woken up and done all the heavy lifting, and that kind of depth against FaZe is a big part, or all that depth that FaZe has works against a lot of these teams, because sure, you might be able to shut down Astro. He's inside of Garage. You can isolate him if you take one of the Garage walls out, but
Oop. It's okay, you can fix that.
Mav is worried about getting shot through the window there.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. But you're right, there's a lot of depth on the side of FaZe. And Astro's taking damage right now, but even if he dies, it's not going to matter. And he's going to get healed up by Yuna.
And Yuna's positioned up top on those rafters beautifully. I don't know if Mav will be able to get out. Oh! Say goodbye to Mighty. Ion goes fishing with that shotgun DMR hybrid. He takes a bit of damage, but would you look at that? He's going to be brought back to almost full life. He could, if he wanted to, as Yuna has 1 more stim pistol left, or so it appears. That wall will get opened up, and it'll be freer access for Red Devils to get on into CCTV. They'll need to turn their sights to Garage, though, because for the time being, Astro has not been pushed out of this position.
Yeah, there's no nades to do that, so it's going to be the Firebolts that have to deal with Yuna up on the rafters, though. We have, you know what's weird? We've had Capitao every attacking round, and yet I haven't really felt any kind of presence at all from the Capitao, which is just so abnormal. And what is that managed to get the exothermic charge? Was that possibly maybe something from Strip Club, or wasn't the Evil Eye that we've seen before? Maybe it detonated, but we didn't see it on the... That's weird. Not sure how that happened.
Tough to tell. Still, it looked like Astro was going to leave Garage willingly. He's wasted a lot of time. Cameraman's still above, waiting to see if there's going to be a side push coming out over in the gym side, but no, nothing for the time being. Another exothermic charge is going to go on down to try and get Astro out of where the bikes lay as he tracks one of the drones up, and well, he might lose this.
Oh, wow. Oh, no. He gets away?
This is going to kill so much time here for Red Devils. And Yuna will take out Abru as they go after Astro. I didn't think they knew that there was an ACOG playing up top. He's got an ADS with him as well, and it didn't look like there was much utility from Velvet. So because of this, it's very likely that Yuna is going to exist as long as he wants. He sees the Zofia for just a second, but he misses all of his shots. The ADS doing its work, and there you go. Cleanup work for Yuna as both members of Red Devils get to the front door of Garage, but they won't get in any farther. 3 kills now, leaving just Cypress left alive and a 4K from Yuna. 5 rounds now for FaZe. They will not be stopped. They'll go perfect on defense, as it'll be the 6th and final round for FaZe before they move to attack and Red Devils move to defense.
Oh boy. All right. So, well, first things first, I suppose Yuna wins those. If you're trying to take him on rafters and you're not using any of your utility, then you're going to have a bad time. Where the heck is Capitao? What is he doing? I mean, one of the first uses that we really saw being like prominent on Clubhouse when it comes to Capitao before his firebolts were ridiculous was, you know, dislodging somebody playing on rafters in Garage. That was one of the earlier, like, wow, he's so good for this because it's like a perfect counter. And where's Capitao? What is he up to these days? I don't know what's going on with Red Devils. And it's even more than that. For the last 5 rounds, I haven't really felt his presence at all, other than, you know, Zion has been getting frags. He has been doing decent, not amazing, but decent in the kill department. So that's something. On the entry department, it's great. But the utility presence from Red Devils is like non-existent, and it's confusing. They're also allowing FaZe Clan to punish them too readily. For example, I think, not sure, but I think it was Cameraman who shot that first exothermic because he was on the roam upstairs. He can get that angle.
Yep.
And he didn't get the second one, but he managed to slow down Red Devils for a solid 20 seconds getting the first. So little things like that, they add up, and Red Devils struggling with the basics, struggling with taking Garage after they open up the server wall. It's not a good situation for Red Devils. FaZe Clan just kind of, it seems, and that's the funny thing, because it seems like FaZe Clan, they don't feel like they're playing amazing or out of their minds. They just feel like, it looks like FaZe Clan is going through the motions right now.
I mean, they're being aggressive, they're playing smart, and I think the bigger focus for Red Devils is they haven't been able to drone effectively, right? They threw how many drones at Astro? And they never capitalized on it once. And he got away. He hasn't gotten a kill since the 2nd round where he got his ace.
But, I mean, he's doing his job.
He's doing his job. He's wasting so much time. And you've heard the vocal cues from the Mozzie that they've caught a couple drones with that pest launcher. And because of this, not only are Red Devils losing those drones, but then they're available to be used by the defenders should they want to. So Astro's contributions haven't come on the scoreboard at all since round number 2, but his biggest contribution has been setting up the rest of his team, and if it wasn't for Astro, it's hard-pressed to suggest that Yuna wouldn't have been able to get at least 2 of those kills up on the rafters as well.
Yeah, because Astro was doing a whole lot playing underneath him, underneath Yuna in Garage, and then when he rotated to Oil Pit, he could still hold Yuna's main stairs in Garage, which allows Yuna to do other things. Anyway, moving into this round, Red Devils could be attacking onto Jim, nearing a 2nd perfect cycle on the first half, and almost a perfect half. That would be impressive from FaZe, but we've seen it already today, so not the most crazy thing. Saw it from Ints earlier.
Cypress has not looked very comfortable on Maverick either, or so far from what we've seen. Open up enough of it, there you go. And now you can soft breach your way in, but he's going to take a tiny, tiny bit of damage. He's lost about half of his HP, though, just from simply trying to get that wall open, and it's taken an awful lot of time. It could have been Astro inflicting some damage on him, who knows exactly. But the longer this clock ticks, the more it's going to benefit FaZe. I have not seen anything from Red DevilS so far that would imbue me with any kind of confidence that they can come back, despite the fact that time is working against them. You hear the sign of the M249 of Capitao, which suggests that Zion is involved in some kind of fight. But the thing is that he's going to need to do a lot more with his utility. It's going to be Mighty who gets the opening kill, so finally FaZe will lose one member of their team before being traded off, though, as there's Astro now looking for the rest of the buck, and he'll drop and try to head back towards the site. Ion on Rome will move on over towards the site. He's come back on in from construction, as the rest of the team from FaZe sits mostly around the site. They're not really all that close. Cypress still outside, waiting to see if somebody's going to rotate out from logistics. But he's very patient. This patience is going to work against them. 15 seconds. Velvet's on in. He's going to check by the bed. Whereas Ion, well, he's isolated inside of the bathroom from those asphyxiating bolts. Nab is there at the top of the stairs, position given away. He might be losing an angle onto that wall as Astro takes out Zion. There's Cameraman as well. Astro just barely missing the Zofia, but Ion doesn't, and the time will hit 0 with Red DevilS being way too slow to the punch. That's another flawless half with FaZe up 6-0 over Red DevilS. Dire straits, and it's match point for FaZe as both these teams will change sides.
So, 15 seconds left in the round. Capitao firebolts are coming out. Smokes as well to cover for a plant. And FaZe Clan are not in a position to deny, for the most part. Most teams, lesser teams, less experienced teams, in FaZe Clan's position just now would have started to rush back to the site. They would have panicked, and they would have tried to retake. We saw that already today with T1, the very beginning against Team Liquid, where at the second round, they started rushing back to the site. 15 seconds left when they had the advantage and they didn't need to. They lost the round because PSK was waiting for that, expecting it. FaZe Clan were patient, they waited it out, and there was one person in a position to influence that push with the DMR shotgun from Cash. He managed to cull the aggression from Red DevilS, get some picks, make Red DevilS suffer for it, as well as get the diffuser down on the floor. And because of that, FaZe Clan managed to win it. They persisted, they used the time to their advantage, and that's the experience shining through right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same thing that we saw with Team Liquid earlier today. It's just the experience. It's the knowledge of what's going to happen given what you have right in front of you, regardless of if you're at the disadvantage or not.
I think another thing, too, is, and I hate to shine a poor light on him because he is a newer member to the team in Cyprus, but very straightforwardly, look at how quickly teams are able to take those walls apart on Clubhouse. And the Maverick play from Cyprus left an awful lot to be desired of. Not only is he losing so much HP in the process, but it took almost half of the round for them to be able to get in. You know, you spend a minute trying to get the electric claw only to give up and then cut the rest of the sheet out and open it up, which is something you could have just done from the onset.
I'm not really sure why also they're doing the Maverick thing on a quarter of the wall now. It's not the end of the world. It accomplishes the same goal. It's just less flexibility for you as an attacker when you later need to utilize that wall. However, on the Jacuzzi wall, I think it makes more sense than the server wall because it's less of an entry and more of a rotation cutoff. So there's some sensibility to it, but at the same time, it's something you don't see usually. FaZe trying to clear out the roamers here. There's a heavy presence upstairs. Bandit being brought instead of the Kaid. Aggressive play here from the Legion of Zion, and he's actually going to lose some HP, but he'll inflict some damage on Astro as well. Ion gets punished inside a garage by Cypress, so good job to him, but there's the refrag. Finally, the Legion upstairs goes down to Mav.
They know where he is, too. So the rest of FaZe can try and keep him from getting back to the site. As you know, he's going to try to work his way from red stairs over towards Cash and CCTV. You can hear there's another air jab that's deployed inside of the garage. And, well, say goodbye to Velvet. Cameraman finds him. So Cypress still hasn't been determined, or the location of Cypress still hasn't been determined, but FaZe find themselves at a lead. Yuna has taken an awful lot of damage, and he'll be finished off by Mighty, who actually might lose Yuna now as he isn't able to do anything with the super shorty. There's an air jab, though, and Mighty will get pushed away as Astro punished by Abreu. It'll be an easy cleanup there for Mighty as Red DevilS look to be able to stop what was a flawless game from FaZe. Keep in mind, the Cameraman has taken quite a bit of damage, too. And a minute left. Cameraman and Mav are there, and now it's all up to Mighty. So this might still work out, but Mighty's position hasn't been given away. He's going to have to win a gunfight. Oh, he'll take the head off of Mav, and he'll head for the hills. Greener pastures for Mav as Mighty runs upstairs, and Cameraman will need to get the diffuser, but it is a mile away. Mighty might still have this information available to him, and Cameraman will now need to go over and try to figure out where is Mighty going to play. That's a goo mine triggered, and he's under watch from the Valkyrie camera. This will be really tough from Cameraman, and really it's going to come down to how good of a shot Mighty is. I don't think Cameraman is aware of the position so close to the doorway, and if he doesn't look in the right direction, Red Devils will be able to walk away with this one. Trying to fetch out exactly where he is. The C4 goes off incorrectly, getting shot in the back, but Mighty will bide time. Very smart play. Cameraman's at 3-speed. He's got 10 seconds to get back into the site, and he's going to be very vulnerable. Mighty will have to get back there too, though. So this will benefit Cameraman for the time being. Go for a plant immediately and hope that Mighty isn't able to get there in time. His position might not be known, but he's going to be exposed, but he's spotted, and there you go. Red Devils will finally get one on the board. It comes down to the wire, and Cameraman being stopped by Goo Mine's Valkyrie cameras, all of the dead teammates of Mighty helping him to stop the fact that we would have seen a second 7-0 and finally give Red Devils one on the board.
Would have been a day to remember to see us 2 7-0s in a row, but oh well, says FaZe Clan, and get them next time as well. So we'll see what happens here, but good clutch there to Mighty. Really got to hand it to him. Props. That shot he landed when retreating on blue stairs, truly incredible. He should not have been able to win that given the misstep he made in trying to make it back to the site when he knew he had the diffuser. But he got out of there, and he punished FaZe for the aggression in blue. No refrag from the Maverick there also seriously cost FaZe Clan. And I'm sure FaZe are kicking themselves for not having a perfect match. But hey, 7-1's probably not too bad, I'm sure, is what they're thinking. The question is, will they be able to make that happen? Because now the Red Devils are on defense, they definitely do seem more comfortable. And by more comfortable, I mean that they're fighting back now. So that's good.
That still came down to a 1v1.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. It's like now Red Devils are actually in the match, it feels like, that they're on now that they're on defense. Because the Montaigne didn't work out on attack, and then following the Montaigne not working out, everything else kind of started to just fall apart. Switched off of it, and that wasn't working either. Well, that's done now. Red Devils can rely on the backbone that is just being on defender.
This is the same lineup being brought out here from FaZe Clan, and Ion died early. He still had 2 of his air jabs go off, and this is not exactly a site where you need to be too preoccupied with runouts outside of maybe Garage. Of course, teams will usually set a Claymore down there, and you might put an air jab above it just for good measure, but your other air jabs are going to go where? Likely in between the sites, maybe up top, inside a Garage, maybe over by red stairs. It really depends on how you want to play this as an attacking team.
No, sometimes you can use those air jabs really aggressively too. I mean, a lot of people who do that. Slash was one of the more original players who do that. But he doesn't even play Nomad on Rogue anymore. But yeah, there's some really interesting stuff you could do with those air jabs. It could be the Bandit, well, pardon me, the Kaid Electroclaw gotten rid of there. I like the way that FaZe did that. Remember when we were seeing Red Devils struggling with getting the Electroclaw earlier? Open a little hole, clear out the ADS, then throw a grenade in, it's gone. I love the efficiency that we just saw with FaZe. It took them a minute to do that. That is a 3-step process with 3 players involved that takes a decent chunk of practice to really refine that. That's a beautiful tool, and I like the way that FaZe Clan did that.
The only downside is that Mav doesn't have any frag grenades left, but you would imagine that FaZe accounted for that.
It's,
right?
yeah, I mean, they're calculating that, I'm sure. It's probably worth it for them.
There's a run-out potential here for Mighty just down by the billiards table. He could jump out and see if he can catch somebody from FaZe off guard, but it's going to be a tough angle for him to hit up onto the roof. He's also got Zion down below on that first floor, so as long as FaZe can hold that red stairs, or hold the red stairs, they'll be in pretty good position to continue to move forward. We've eclipsed the halfway mark here, and still FaZe Clan sitting on match point. They will continue to do so, looking to pick up another 3 big points after they were able to just barely beat Liquid last playday. Not quite so close so far.
So, heavy focus placed on Cash. I mean, obviously, it's the most pivotal part of this site, but wow, Abreu able to take down 2 from a long angle into Master. You gotta love to see those angles. Cypress also gonna eliminate Astro. That's a wall that is commonly reinforced, but not so here. Cameraman fighting back, but as Ion gets down, it's just Cameraman. He will have to ace to win this round. So FaZe Clan starts saying, 7-2's not too bad. Well, the question is, will we even get there? Let's see. Cameraman's going to put one down on the floor, but not finish him off. That's Mighty at the top of Cash Stairs. He could get recovered by his team, and he probably would have. Velvet gets the final kill, though, and Red Devils, 2 in a row. They're looking decent on defense. Here we go.
It was a much better round. And for FaZe Clan, I don't think they were expecting the way that Abreu was playing. Now, he's playing behind that deployable shield with the one wall inside of construction opened all the way up, looking over towards Jim and Master. We don't really see that angle used all that much in Pro League. Not much at all.
Speaking of, is that a serious pick?
Bar and stockroom.
Are they going to continue? Oh, it's locked in.
A sight that is so rarely seen.
Yeah, this is very uncommon. If they lose on this.
This is a big gamble here from Red Devils, but they have to feel confident. Keep in mind, Red Devils were the team that banned Thatcher, if I remember correctly, and they were in a position where they knew that it would maybe handicap FaZe, but FaZe have shown that they can use compositions that don't revolve around a Thatcher a lot. Thatcher is not an operator that actually a lot of teams do utilize.
Yeah, I mean, he's a decently common ban. He's not the most, but he does get banned. And for example, like we saw on the server wall, the way that FaZe Maverick to hole, flashed through the hole to clear the ADS, naded the Electro Claw. That right there, that tool that FaZe have practiced, I mean, that's in expectation of Thatcher being banned. It's like, yeah, okay, he's gone. So we're going to know what to do when he's gone. That's good practice from FaZe, well refined as well. Thing that pops into my mind is, do they have strategies for attacking Bar? I mean, I imagine FaZe does. They're very thorough. But, I mean, it's Bar. It's so rarely defended.
Bar is like a lot of sites. When you start to lose it, you can lose it real fast, right?
Yeah.
And because of this, you have to watch and be very careful that things don't fall for the defenders really early on. Now, they've got some tools to slow that down. The castle's going to be a main focal point for FaZe to try and tackle those 3 barricades that are set up somewhere around the actual site. One of right now just appears to be holding off on the billiards table, and well, we're getting a good look at the setup from above. And a lot of a second floor presence right now from Red Devils. They got Velvet up top. It also looks like Zion is up there with Mighty. 3 people from Red Devils being utilized above the site. Velvet deciding to tussle a little bit early on. I'm not sure why he's taking such a gamble against Cameraman. I mean, it could pay off, but you're essentially in a 50-50 scenario where if you lose this site, which we've already said is not exactly the most defender-friendly, could fall pretty quickly. It's now Mighty who's going to take the advantage. He's got the open wall jacuzzi that he'll fire through 2 different soft walls to try and land a shot onto the thermite of Yuna. The only person out of all of that that's going to take any damage is going to be Ion, who loses about 25% of his HP. But Astro somehow made his way to the main stairs, and he'll take the head right off of Abreu. And the very first kill will come just over a minute into the round.
I'm looking for a second here as the castle gets aggressive. Zion trying to actually push down the main stairs. This is interesting. Astro's going to start droning. He might get caught out here, but no. No, it's going to be Zion to retreat. Probably the right call if you're the castle, but this is definitely something that Red Devils are going to have to struggle with. Astro's position downstairs gives him a lot of flexibility. I will say, though, FaZe do look confused in their attack, at least more so than they have thus far, and that could be a huge advantage for Red Devils. But FaZe have also managed to get control of the top floor. Is Mighty right next to his opponent? Yes, he is.
Oh,
there you go. Astro peeks out and takes down a second one for himself in the round. Effectively a free kill thanks to Mighty's lack of, well, thoroughness.
Velvet will take down Astro, so the double kill that comes out from the FaZe Clan member, who'd been so good in the early onset of this map, will be all that they wrote for him. Velvet took some damage in the process. He's inside of Garage and will need to be figured out his location of from FaZe Clan, as FaZe does definitely appear to be quite confused as to where to go.
Yeah.
It's holding a hard angle, just waiting, and you can basically put it into a 3v3 at that point, as Velvet, still on the return to the site, is downstairs lurking through blue. With Zion and Cypress sitting just fine, just beside the bomb sites. Oh!
What?
I don't know what Yuna was doing with Zion, just sitting and waiting. This is very, very bad now. Diffuser going down for Yuna. Should be able to hold off on this as a grenade will go by Velvet. He'll peek out. Oh, almost grabs 2 for his troubles. Cypress, a big moment, but he'll be shut down by Ion. And Bar Stock comes very close to going in favor of the defenders, but just by a hair, it's FaZe shutting down all of the trades from Red Devils. And while Red Devils felt like they had a lot of confidence and could have possibly come back, there was too big of a hole for them to dig themselves out of and nothing to grab onto to climb out. FaZe 7-2 scoreline. That's 3 points.